Is there a way of going through a conscious heartbreak or a conscious separation? Yes, it is. There's a lot of advice over there about how to deal with a broken heart, how to deal with emotions and the pain and the feelings, and how to get over an ex. And there's so much all around about this particular issue. But I think it's not much about how to consciously and lovingly going through that process, learning about ourselves. You know, a heartbreak is something that happens to all human beings. You know, sooner or later, we're going to have that experience. And we're going to believe that that experience is going to kill us. It's so profound and so deep and so painful that it makes us feel like we are dying. I know because I have been there more than once. And if you ask me if I would do that again, like falling in love and open my heart to someone new, knowing the risk I'm taking, I would say part of me wants that, and another part is a little afraid of course. That's why I think it's so important to work on ourselves, because the first thing that comes to mind when we're going through a separation, especially when someone and the other person decided to end the relationship and, go separate ways, when we are in the position of the abandoned one, the rejected one, we may have all those negative thoughts about ourselves. And those thoughts are all about being worthy of love. If we are not very confident about who we are, and actually we all have issues about it because we grew up in families and we are human beings. We are not perfect. We make mistakes. Our parents make mistakes. We have painful experiences growing up. So I think we are all wounded somehow. And when we are in a relationship with someone, all those wounds comes to the surface for us to see them and deal with them. So this is an opportunity. I know that when we are in the middle of the process, when we are really feeling the pain, we can't think about anything. But you don't have to. That's why I am here for, to help you navigate through this process in a very compassionate way, with a lot of patience, and helping you to see and find a different perspective. A perspective that will give you some relief and, for you to become aware that the most important person in this situation is you. And you are having a very painful experience, but this experience may change your life forever and may change the way you get in relationship with another person in the future. This is how it happened to me. And whatever I share with you here is part of my experience, what I learned, and also what I learned from my clients. The first thing that I learned is that we are so resistant to feel the pain. It's a natural response from the mind and the brain to avoid what seems to be dangerous, like feeling pain, emotional pain in this case. It's totally natural. But we put so much energy and so much effort and time into resisting the pain that we create all this anxiety around that is not really necessary. I know it may not make sense what I'm saying here, but if you really think about and you observe yourself, I would say that 40%, something like that, of how you feel is the resistance of feeling the pain. I remember those moments when I have been, laying on the floor, sobbing, crying like crazy, and really telling myself, I can't take this anymore. I know. But later, if you learn, this takes a little effort and some discipline and some guidance. And I have been practicing some exercises, breathing techniques, EFT, a lot of different techniques to be able to go through, the resistance of feeling the pain, to feel the pain, because actually we are not in pain 24/7. It comes in waves. And the problem is when we see the wave coming, we start resisting, saying, no, I don't want to feel that. And we try everything we can, alcohol or weed or distractions or casual sex, whatever, to avoid feeling the pain. But the pain is energy and doesn't go away. So we need to go through that process. As scary as it sounds, is something that we really need to do. So in my ebook, Soothing the Pain of a Broken Heart, or the emergency, the first recommendations when we are going through that, in that ebook are all the steps, it's 5 steps to help you go through a broken heart. It's for the first days, the first weeks. It's so important to do this process consciously because, most of the advice is ego-based. It's about, many people believe that I have been making bad choices, or my partner betrayed me, he lied to me, he never really loved me. I would question all that because probably that is not true. Because it's very easy to blame another. Oh, he or she's the one who was wrong. I'm right, they're wrong. The blaming game actually never works in our favor in the end. The blaming game is a distraction because we get into the illusion that if we are right and the other person is wrong, we feel better, but we don't. We need to take responsibility of our own feelings and emotions. That is really number one. Take responsibility, not because we blame ourselves. We take this experience and how we feel and the kind of thoughts we're having in our mind at that moment to observe what is coming up for us. What is coming to the surface, because there are things coming up. For example, in my case, I remember the first time I went through a heartbreak, my first thought was, no one really loved me. I am unloved, unlovable. Something is very wrong with me and no one will love me ever because something is I am a bad person, whatever, this whole negative thoughts that actually they really torture me. When you start thinking, when you realize that you are aware that in your mind there are thoughts like, no one loves me, I am unlovable, something is wrong with me. At that moment, if you have the clarity and the discipline to pay attention to what you are telling to yourself, you're going to find that that idea, that thought is coming to you from somewhere and probably has nothing to do with the experience that you have with your partner. It's something that is more related to something in your childhood, the way you perceive yourself that is somehow related in the relationship with your parents. We all have those things. But the fact that I am thinking if my partner decided to leave me, it's because I am unlovable, I would question that. Because no one is unlovable. Because if we have, in my case, actually in my experience, I realized that I grew up with the idea that I have to make an effort to deserve to be loved. Totally unconscious until I have the experience that brought this awareness into my reality. I grew up with the idea that to be loved, I have to make an effort. I need to deserve this. I have to do something. And it's totally untrue. No one needs to make an effort to be loved. It's not something that we need to earn, right? Love is an offering, and we receive it or not. And sometimes the other person may not be offering that love anymore, but doesn't mean we are unlovable. The issue is with the other person, it's not with us. But because we are wounded, that is the kind of reaction we have. So that's why it's so important to have a conscious, like an awareness, a conscious awareness about who we are in this process, because that is going to change your life forever. Believe me, the way you relate in your future relationship is going to be different, because you will learn how to love yourself no matter what. When we love ourselves and we have confidence about who we are, we know that love is an offering. We just need to open our heart and our arms to receive it. We don't have to work hard to deserve it. Love is already within us. So many beautiful things happen when we learn from heartbreaks, because I used to call the wisdom of the broken heart, because the heart becomes so wise, during those times. I know you may not believe me right now, but I know that eventually when you get better, at least you're going to think about it. The story you are telling yourself in your mind over and over again may not be true, but you believe it, and you can change that, and I can help you to do that. So click the link below for more information, and you can also get my free ebook for the first days dealing with a broken heart. I wish you well. Namaste.